Hello everybody, this is the Self-Sufficient Off-Grid Hobby Farm on Facebook, MeWe, and YouTube. And I wanted to show you another little project that I've done. This white PVC pipe you see coming into this 10 by 10 little 1 foot deep pond is fed by the gray water. Black water's diverted and goes into the septic tank. I took a 5-gallon bucket and I drilled a bunch of holes all the way around the perimeter of it, so as the water flows down in there, it is spread out slowly, coming out of holes rather than just creating a current. I do not want any cyclonic action or current in this water. I have an overfill right here with aluminum screen and aluminum wire wrapped around it so it won't rust, right? And I have a little dip right there with the tarp going underneath it, and I've put bricks on top of it and then filled it in with dirt. I am now at the point where you can see a little bit of dripped out of there. It's time for me to dig the next pond, and so on and so forth on down the property. So what I've done was I started with 1 cup of duckweed that you can see growing on the surface there. A really simple little aquatic plant that, let's see if I can get one. Very basic, very simple. Come on, focus. All right, this one's getting ready to split. The plant actually only has 2 leaves. It forms 2 more and then they split off and create their own root. This is a nutritional superfood when it comes to animals. Humans can't eat it because of all the little creepy crawlies that live in the water. The only way a human could safely eat this would be to soak it in vinegar. Therefore, it wouldn't taste very good. Or to use hydrogen peroxide, which is expensive and probably not the most healthy thing. I mean, it's not going to kill you, but it's going to taste terrible. It's going to be expensive. So really, this is not a human food. This is an animal food, a nutritional superfood. It's got so much protein and other nutrients in it, you could almost feed this exclusively to your animals. So 1 week ago, I planted a cup, and you can see it spread out across the surface. It hasn't fully joined it. There's other types of moss that spring up in here too. What ends up happening though is the duckweed finally fills the surface. It chokes out all the other mosses. It will start growing over the other mosses, as you can see it's starting to do here. So it'll creep over and kill everything else off, and it'll be just duckweed growing. This duckweed has a perfect color to it. It's in extreme health. It doesn't even matter that my laundry water is going into here. It all becomes fertilizer for these plants. To keep anything from becoming a mosquito breeding ground, which I've noticed there are some mosquitoes landing on it. Let's see, I just had one there a second ago. Do not put goldfish in there to eat the mosquito larvae. Goldfish will eat these plants. What you're going to need to put in there will be betta fish. Betta fish will grow fat and happy. 1 fish would do per pond. You could put 2 just in case one croaks or whatever, but they're perfect. They swim around, they eat the fry, and they do really good. I suspect in 3 weeks this thing will be completely just choked off as far as the surface goes. At that point, what I'll be able to do is just reach in there with a big fishing net and harvest 1/3 of what's growing in here, which will be quite a bit, and feed it directly to chickens, rabbits, ducks, goats, pigs, horses, cows, whatever. Your chickens really love it. It's awesome. All the critters love it. It's moist, it tastes good, and fills their bellies really quick. But this is one 10 by 10 pond. Lewis, say hi.
Hi.
This is one 10 by 10 pond. And I'm thinking with the rate of evaporation, which is really low right now, but imagine after the surface is covered, I could probably get 8 of these ponds, you know. So that's 10 by 10. 8 of them would be 80 by 80, baby. It's a lot of duckweed produced, especially if once a week you can come out here and harvest 1/3 off of each pond. It's another way to be self-sufficient. You need to check with your local code and make sure that it's okay that you have gray water sitting around. Some codes say nothing about it. In that case, you're good, just like where I'm at. Other places strictly say any used water has to go into a cistern or a septic tank or sewer or the like, depending on your code. You need to make sure this is legal. They could come out and shut you down and give you all kinds of fines, actually, especially if your tarp is percolating through. This is something that you would need to put new tarps in every single year. If you're really awesome, you could get fiberglass mat and some fiberglass resin and if you really like the way it's going a couple years down the road. Get fiberglass mat and resin and make yourself some little fiberglass ponds. If you like it, if it works out good for you. Not this year, but next year. Save my contact information. If you have no duckweed locally where you're at, I'll send you a culture for free. You just pay the shipping. I'm happy to scoop you up a couple tablespoons and mail it to you, and free of charge. A couple tablespoons, you know, I put a cup in here, but a couple tablespoons, they might take a week or more longer to completely cover this than the cup that I put in there, but they reproduce fast and they spread. What's really cool about storage through the winter time, you don't have to keep this stuff going through the winter time. Get a compost pile, and in several spots in your compost pile, unearth it, grab a big glob of this stuff and stick it down in there and cover it over. And then cover your compost pile with a tarp. Next spring, dig it up. You know, you need to have it marked where your little patches are with duckweed in there, and then you can dig them up. And a lot of them will have died off, but some of them will still be alive. I saw where people were doing that, so that's how you can winter it and get new cultures for next spring. But anyways, reach out to me if you need a culture. Not this year. This year I'm just trying to get my numbers up. I started really late. But next year, the beginning of the season, message me and I can send you a culture if you don't have any locally. One thing you can do to find out if you do have it locally is get onto Google Earth and follow the local rivers and look for rivers that from the sky look kind of like this, have this greenish hue to it. It's kind of swampy areas. It can't be directly in the river. This stuff won't survive in a river. The river's moving too fast. The river will spread it, but this stuff needs to be in swampy areas. And if it's got this green from the sky, it will look kind of like this. You know, here's your earth and everything, and then here's your little that color of green from Google Earth. That's probably duckweed. Drive down there and check it out. Scoop some up. Put on some mosquito repellent. Mosquitoes love swamps. But I don't have to worry about mosquito larvae because I got, well, right now I only have one beta in there, but that sucker, I don't know where he's at right now, but just a regular red beta I paid like $4 for at Petco. And I put him in there, and it's cool watching him when he's out and about, just swimming around, gobbling up the mosquito larvae. So I don't think any of them are even hatching to adulthood. He's just putting a dent in them, a real hurting. Anyways, if you got more questions, ask me. But I mean, it's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. But the whole reason why I've created these pages is to share what I learned with you. So by all means, there's no such thing as a stupid question. If you got a question, ask me. It's my pleasure to talk to you. Adios and have a good day.